Welcome back. You're watching France 24. It's time for Media Watch, our look at the stories creating the most buzz online. Rebecca Baring joins me on set. Hi, Rebecca.
Good evening, Lana.
And we start with that train crash from last weekend in China. It killed at least 39 people, and the Chinese people are really expressing their anger online.
They certainly are. Let's take a look at this photo from the viaduct in Wenzhou, where this accident happened on Saturday. And you can see there that barely a day later, there's a shiny new train running across that bridge while the remnants of the old one lie beneath.
It's a pretty shocking photo. It almost looks like a montage there.
It does, but it's real, and people are saying that this is kind of a symbolic of the sort of lack of respect for the victims of this particular disaster. And that's what the op-ed piece in the New York Times picks up on here. It's called China's high-speed politics, and it talks about how the government's attempts to control, to direct, to manage the coverage of this particular event in the Chinese media have essentially not been very successful. Leaked propaganda directives show that the Communist Party tried to push the focus onto stories of survival, stories of good coming out of adversity, and to censor public reaction, it says. Major love in the face of major disaster was the directive that they were given. Now, the government originally said that this accident was caused by a freak lightning strike. Then afterwards they talked about massive signal failure. But either way, web users keep on raising questions about institutionalized failure, the article says. And it also points out that newspapers and magazines in China have really for the first time been very forceful in their line of questioning.
And that's despite the government stepping in to try and rein the media in and ask them not to challenge the official version.
Exactly. They found ways around it. Now, this article also talks about the culture of the Great Leap, which is really something that China's disgraced former railway minister who was jailed for corruption was trying to push forward. It's a kind of overly rapid development, and the high-speed rail network in China has been seen as a symbol of sort of burgeoning power and supremacy. But lots of corners have been cut. The article talks about a train driver forced to master the ropes in 2 weeks, in 10 days instead of 2 months. And ordinary citizens are just saying, please slow down. Even the state-run media, we find out as well on the People's Daily website, has been sort of emboldened, starting to ask more questions. It's reporting about the doubts and concerns of families of victims. They want a full list of the dead and missing, because rumours have been circulating that some of the train carriages have been buried with people still in them, so that there's no real sense of what the true death toll from this disaster is. If we look as well at some editorials in the state-run Global Times, which is affiliated with the People's Daily. They talk about a public relations disaster on the part of the government. They talk about a lot more democracy burgeoning online and how netizens are essentially trying to hold officials to account. One of the ways they're doing so is with the Chinese microblogging platform Weibo, which is a bit like Twitter, but is even more widely used. And there were over 4 million posts on that site within 24 hours of the accident. If we go to Storyful, we can read here a little bit about, and we can see some tweets actually in English from people who've been on Twitter. Louisa Lim, she says it's the first time that she's seen the Chinese press asking such direct questions of WJB. She's talking about Wen Jiabao. Now, he held a rare press conference today at the site of the accident, but strangely enough, he hadn't been there for 5 days. Why did it take him so long to get there?
That must be quite shocking as a leader of the country as well. Not only the lack of transparency, but also not having their prime minister, their president even
not showing up
at the crash
essentially
site.
That's what the blog China Rises is actually speaking about, because in the Wall Street Journal we learn that the reason why, according to Wen Jiabao, Grandpa Wen as he's known, he's now 70 years old, the reason why he didn't go is because he's been ill. He's been on a sick bed for the last 11 days. This blog, however, contradicts him, saying that actually there was a report in the Xinhua State Media Agency that he met a Japanese trade delegation just a day after the accident took place. And so consequently, they say that it's just an excuse. So certainly the government is being held to account in very new and radical ways in China after this disaster.
All right, some very interesting developments online there. Thanks very much for keeping us up to speed. Rebecca Baring, that was Media Watch on France 24. Do stay with us. In a couple minutes, we'll have all the latest news, plus a look at today's sports and football. Manchester United thrash MLS All-Stars in New York. Stay tuned for more.